Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see in the picture today, let's start the story of part 3 of a story where Issei was the grandson of the legendary demon hunter Dante. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Now let's get into part 3. Streets of Kwa nighttime. It was raining heavily in Kwa. No sound can be heard apart from the constant drops coming from the heavy rain. Kiba is seen walking aimlessly on the poorly lit sidewalk, lost in his own thoughts. If there's something you're worried about, at least tell me, swordsman, to swordsman. The voice of Issei reverberated in Kiba's mind. I'm sorry, Issei-kun, I'm not someone who you should be worried for. I don't deserve that kind of treatment, Kiba said to himself. Suddenly a man in what seems to be church clothing came running out of the alley in a hysterical panic. Help me, Arg, the man said as he slipped and fell. The priest. Kiba spoke in a surprisingly sad tone. Hey, look at what I found, a shitty devil, an alive Fried Selzen spoke while waving a sword. Fried Selzen, how are you alive? I thought Issei-kun killed you, Kiba spoke in a very shocked manner. How I made it out alive is none of your business, all I see is a free kill. Fried spoke in a maniacal tone. So, you managed to survive him and hid in town. Kiba spoke in an angered tone. Such a headwarming reunion, it brings a tear to my eye, Kekiki. Fried cackled. Too bad for you, I'm in a real shitty mood today. Kiba spoke as he summoned a demonic sword. That's perfect, killing these priests was getting boring. Fried spoke while continuously waving his sword around, creating an ominous aura. That light and aura. It can't be. Nice timing. In return to what that cocaine-haired bastard did to me, let's have a little test of which is stronger, your cursed sword or my holy sword, Excalibur. Fried cut off Kiba in his maniacal voice. The mere mention of Excalibur was enough to send Kiba in a fit of rage. Both Kiba and Fried clashed swords in a momentary stalemate. That pretty face of yours is getting twisted. Are you trying to become a more suitable prey for the holy sword Excalibur? Fried spoke. Don't fuck with me, Kiba bellowed, pushing away the crazed priest. I didn't think something so vulgar would come out of that pretty mouth of yours. Fried spoke. Holy eraser. Kiba attacked. Fried's sword glows an orange hue, completely negating Kiba's attack. It's useless. Fried mocked the knight. I was just testing to see if that's the real thing or not. Now I can come at you with everything I got. Kiba spoke in an arrogant tone as he charged towards the priest. Kiba continued his assault, forcing the priest to go on the defensive until Fried saw an opening and took advantage of it, doing an upward slash, gashing the knight's bicep. Ah! Kiba bellowed in pain. Didn't you know? Holy swords really hate devils. Fried mocked the devil. I know. There's no way I'd forget. Kiba angrily spoke as he swept Fried's feet, the latter falling on his ass. That's cheating. Fried retorted. Isn't that what devils do? Kiba answered, jumping forward for a slash. Fried narrowly dodged the attack. I see now, wait, what? Fried asked in confusion as a communication circle appeared beside his ear. Oh, someone's calling me, and so, goodbye shitty devil. Fried said as he threw flashbang, exiting the scene. Hi, do residents. Morning. Issei is seen lying on his bed as his anime waifu alarm clock rang to wake him up. It's not I care about you, just because I woke you up doesn't mean I like you, idiot. The alarm clock rang. I feel heavy, Issei spoke as he opened his eyes. Issei stirred awake, but he felt 2 arms draped around his neck and a red bunch of hair laying on his collarbone. As this Riaz, Issei screamed in his head. The suspicions were proven right when he saw a buck-naked Riaz peacefully sleeping and softly breathing on his lower neck, the latter getting turned on. On his left was a familiar head of blonde hair, and naked Asia is seen clinging to his chest. But you? Asia. What the hell are you two doing here? Issei startled the two awake. Good morning, Ice, Riaz greeted, kissing Issei on the cheek, the boy blushing in return. Good morning, Issei-san. Asia softly spoke. First of all, why are you two naked? You both dodged my question earlier, Issei asked. I can't sleep unless I'm naked and I wanted my ice time. Rias seductively spoke. Why are you two here again? Issei added to his question. I was getting lonely and I couldn't think about anything but you. Ria spoke, pressing Issei's arm in between her breasts. I woke up from a bad dream and I wanted to sleep next to you, but I saw Ria's one Sama in your room undressing. We then agreed to take an arm each and make you a pillow of sword. Asia answered. Issei's door shot open, revealing a properly dressed Kalina. Issei, wake up already, and wake up Asia-chan too. My, what do we have here? Kalina spoke, completely caught off guard from the scene. Hello there, Kalina-san. Sorry for barging in. Rias politely spoke. There, it's all right. It's about damn time Issei gets a woman. Kalina spoke casually, completely ignoring the naked women on her son's bed. Time to get ready for school, come along now, Ice. Ria spoke, dressing and going downstairs with Asia. The boy was now left alone in his room, left to fantasize on Rias and Asia. Sorry to bother your daydream partner, but we have business to discuss, Drake spoke aloud, startling the boy. What the hell, Dreg? It was getting good. Issei tearfully spoke. Do you remember your visit to Azazel's home? I caught the scent of the white one. Dreg warned his host. Your eternal rival, we'll have to fight them someday, right? Issei asked his dragon. Precisely, but I won't need to worry much, you're already this powerful, and you're only in your late teens. Drake proudly said, if you caught the white one's scent, won't that mean that the white dragon emperor is working with Azazel? Issei pondered. That could be possible. Great deduction on your part. Drake approved of his host's smarts. Drake, could this be a setup by Azazel? Issei spoke in a serious tone. It could be. He's matching us and the white one like it's one of those fighting games you played with him. Drake casually answered. I just hope that the white one's host doesn't have a few screws loose. Issei sighed. Issei, get your ass down here, Rias and Asia are waiting and you're gonna be late, Kalina bellowed from the kitchen. Good luck, partner. Drake chuckled. Gua Academy, morning. Sona Citri and her queen Tsubaki Shinra are seen walking towards Gua Academy's bridge until Sona spotted two hooded figures at the end of the bridge. President. Tsubaki called for her king. Sona scanned the two figures. The Holy Sword. Sona spoke in a neutral tone. Issei, Mitsuda and Motohama are seen talking among themselves in the hallways of their school. Paraic? Issei asked. It's been a while, one ago. Mitsuda excitedly spoke. The one across the station has most of the songs we like, insert songs and some anime songs as well. Motohama said with a grin. What was that about insert? A bespectacled young woman suddenly spoke. Kiryu? Matsuda and Motohama simultaneously spoke. Aika Kiryu is a second year in Gua Academy, who sports a head of brown hair styled to braids on both sides, golden yellow eyes, pink framed spectacles, and is wearing the Gua Academy uniform with black thigh-high socks. She shares the same ability of the size Scouter with Motohama. The only thing different is Kiryu measures a guy's dick rather than the 3 sizes of a woman with Motohama. Gosh, you three are talking about erotic shit this early in the morning? Aika spoke in a mocking tone. No, we were talking about going to a Carrick bar. Issei answered. Carrick? Sounds fun. Maybe I'll tag along too. Wanna come with me? Asia? Aika asked the nun. Yes. I'd love to go, Asia happily replied. Screw it. I'm going. Gotta make sure these numbskulls don't try anything with Asia. Issei thought. Old schoolhouse. Issei and Asia are seen walking through the newly cleaned halls of the old schoolhouse on their way to the main club room. Wow. It's so shiny. Asia spoke, amazed by the waxwood flooring. It does. I can even see my reflection on it. Issei chuckled. Both Asia and Issei turned a corner and noticed a suspicious-looking set of double doors. The doors are sealed by a myriad of yellow tape. It says, "Keep out." Was that room always in there? Asia asked. I have no idea, but let's not stick around here. We gotta meet Bachu. Issei spoke with Asia nodding in compliance. Issei used his draconic senses and tried to gauge who or what's inside the room. Hardna, it's a sacred gear user in there. Drake spoke in Issei's mind. Yeah. A powerful one too. Wonder what else Rios keeps inside. Issei replied to his dragon. One can only wonder, but let's leave it for now. We don't want to seem suspicious, especially when her knight's gone rogue. Drake replied, cutting the mental link. The duo eventually made it to the main clue room where Rias and Kaneko were seated on opposing couches and were as impressed by the cleaning job the room received. Everything so far is spotless. It's like a fresh start all over again. Rias spoke. Where is Kiba though? Issei asked. Hyoudou-senpai took a day off. Kaneko answered while eating an apple. Kiba-san taking a day off. That's unusual. Asia spoke in shock. Does it have something to do with what we talked about yesterday? Tell me what Kiba has to do with holy swords. Issei asked in a serious tone. I've told you that Hyoudou was a survivor of the Holy Sword Project, correct? Ria sighed. Yes. Issei bluntly replied. Besides him, there were others who were being raised to be wielders of Excalibur. Ria said in an equally serious tone. And those others were raised to wield 7 fragments of Excalibur, chimed in, earning a shocked look from Rias. How did you know about the fragments? Rias asked. I have my sources, and a hunch. Lied through his teeth. I see. Continuing my explanation, those 7 fragments were scattered a long time ago from a war long ago. The church collected those fragments and used alchemy to create 7 swords. Kiba was supposed to wield one of them. Issei spoke in an ominous tone. Yes, but none of those who were trained were able to adapt to Excalibur. The project ended in complete failure. Then those who were in charge of the entire thing decided to dispose of him and the other test subjects. Ria spoke in a solemn tone. Dispose of as in killing them. Issei snarled. Yes. All of them were on the verge of death, but one of them was able to run away alone while knocking on death's door and swore vengeance. I wanted him to use his conviction in a meaningful way as a devil. So that's why you turned Kiba into a devil. When he saw that photo of me and the kid, it reminded him of his past and true ideals. Issei spoke sadly. Yes, all we can do is wait and see what happens. Rias spoke with a half-smile. The doors shot open, revealing Aquino. Everyone's here already. Aquino spoke while approaching the group. You're quite late, Aquino. Rias spoke. It's because I brought some guests. Aquino replied to Rias while gesturing Sauna and Tsubaki to enter. Excuse our sudden visit. Sauna respectfully spoke. Haichu and Fukukaichu? Issei spoke with confusion and shock. How have you been, Hyoudou-kun? Sauna greeted the boy with an uncharacteristic smile. All good. Issei replied, winking at Sauna, the latter getting flustered. They said that they have urgent business to discuss with you, but you? Aquino explained. That's right. Rias, would you come to my home right now? No one will be able to intrude there. Sauna explained, regaining her stoic demeanor. Sounds like a very complicated situation you have there. Rias spoke in a serious tone. Yes. Very complicated. Sauna replied. Can I tag along? I have a grasp of what you two intend to discuss, and I have information that's gonna be worth your while. Issei offered himself. Rias, Sauna, Aquino, and Tsubaki immediately turned red at the thought of seeing a naked Issei in the sauna. I'm fine with it. How about you, Rias? Sauna asked her friend rival. Oh, of course, if he has information then let's lend him an ear. Rias spoke, visibly blushing. All right. Let me drop Asia home, escort Kaneko to her home, and I'll teleport here right away. Issei spoke in high spirits. Asia, Issei, and Kaneko are seen near the apartments where Kaneko stays, the latter separating from the group. This is my stop. Goodbye. Kaneko spoke. All right. See you tomorrow. Asia reciprocated the farewell. Let's go somewhere discreet. I'll teleport us home. Issei spoke with Asia nodding in compliance. Issei dropped Asia off and went back to the Orc Club room. So where are we going again? Issei asked. Isona's home, come along now. Rias spoke. The group of Issei, Rias, Aquino, Sauna and Tsubaki were teleported to Sona's home. Now, Hideout Kun Sauna was interrupted by Issei. Eichu, I'm not one for formalities, Issei or Isis. Fine, pick your poison. Issei spoke. Very well, Issei, what we're going to do is lounge around in my home sauna. It's the most discreet place in this building and the only place we can discuss our current affairs. Sona explained. Alright, Kaija lead the Issei was interrupted by Sona this time. I'd like you to return the favor by dropping the formalities with me as well. Just make sure that it's not in school where you call me by my name. Sona spoke with Issei nodding in compliance. Very well, Sona, Issei teased the devil. Rias, Okino, and Tsubaki were visibly jealous with Issei and Sona actively flirting. The group split into the changing lockers with Issei being the only guy amongst the group. The ladies' locker room was in absolute disarray. Are we all in agreement that we're about to see Issei sport a high dupe naked? Rias asked the group. Yes. The rest answered in unison. Let's make ourselves presentable then. Rias again spoke with a smile. Issei is seen changing in the men's locker room. Greg, is there a possibility that all the ladies I'm with will go to the sauna stark naked? Issei asked his dragon. It's not a possibility, it's a fact that Gremory Girl is a prime example. Drake answered. Nice. Issei simply replied. You're on your own for this one, I'll let you savor the moment for once. Drake chuckled while cutting the mental link. The four ladies walk into the sauna in anticipation of Issei's arrival. They all sat in evenly spaced spots, leaving the middle seat open for the boy in question. It's been forever since I came here. Rias spoke, feeling nostalgic, taking off her towel. Did you used to go here often? Akino asked her king, removing her towel as well. Rias and I always come here to tell our secrets to one another. Sona spoke out of the blue, completely naked with her queen. This sauna was installed for her personal use. Once the space is closed, no one can enter. Tsubaki explained. So that's how they can share their secrets. Okino chimed in. I mainly complained about being scolded all the time and other childish things. You talk a lot about your sister in here. Right, Sona? Rias confessed. That's all in the past, Sona gracefully answered. Whoa. Snazzy looking Sona you got here, Sona. Issei's voice echoed, making his entrance. Here he is, all four of them thought. I feel relaxed already when I walked in here. Issei spoke in relief. The four ladies with Issei couldn't stop staring at his physique, his semi-wet white hair, his six-pack abs that glisten with the moisture on it, his crimson orbs that glimmer, and his package from below, all combined for a very tasty treat in their eyes. Issei took his seat dead center and began the conversation. So, what are we here for? Issei asked, fully knowing what they have in mind. Before we get to that, mind if we asked you a few questions? Sona asked. Alright, shoot, Issei replied. Who else is in your peerage? Sona asked. Diamat, that's it. I don't have anyone in mind right now, mostly because I can't find anyone, Issei answered, scratching the back of his head. How did you unlock your powers? Rias this time asked. It may sound brutal, but I needed to be stabbed. The reason being is that when my powers were sealed by my parents, it takes two of them to unseal it. But then my father passed away because it used most of his life force to put the seal on me, and to unseal it, my mother took a gamble and went to her cousin Nero, the Dark Slayer's son. He had Sparta's home restored and gathered all the demonic blades in it as a memorabilia of sword. Then he told me that I needed to absorb all three of Sparta's swords, Rebellion, Yamato, and Sparta. I stabbed myself with the remains Rebellion. The rest of the blades were absorbed into me, breaking the seals with sheer force and adding some more. Issei explained, earning nods from the women around him. Remains, Rias spoke in confusion. The rebellion has shattered some years ago, but its power of bringing man and devil together stayed intact. Issei answered. What fighting styles do you use? Tsubaki now asked. Mostly a mix of swordplay and shooting. I mostly favor Severance, since it's a sword exclusive to me. Issei answered, materializing Severance then dematerializing it. Most importantly, are you looking to date anyone? Yufufu. Akino asked the final question. Not right now, but I'd love to take you ladies out when the time presents itself. Issei answered in a surprisingly flirty tone. The four women couldn't hold back a blush. Now, onto the good stuff, ladies first. Issei opened the table for discussion. Right, this morning, Sauna and I encountered two individuals from the church on our way to school. Tsubaki started things off. It's been a while since they came to town. What did they want? Rias asked. They want to speak with you, Rias. Sauna answered. People from the church want to speak with the devil. This is gonna be a nuisance. So, what did you tell them? Rias spoke in a frustrated tone. I accepted, of course. Tomorrow they'll be coming to your club room after school hours, however. Sauna trailed off. The two individuals were carrying holy swords. Bingo, Issei thought. Rias remembered the photo of Issei and his childhood friend. That can't be, Rias whispered. So Issei, what do you have to offer? Sauna asked. Here's the short version of it. Apparently, in the church, 3 Excalibur fragments were stolen by fallen angels, and they planned to find the rest in hopes of restoring the real thing. Issei explained, both lying and answering truthfully, while leaving out details that would put the devils on high alert. I see, that is big, thank you, Issei. Sauna thanked the boy. Suddenly, Issei felt a disturbance, and he had a feeling that it was in his home. Rias, let's go. This concerns Asia. We have to go to my place now, Issei spoke in urgency. All right, Rias replied with a serious face. The two got dressed and teleported using Issei's advanced teleportation magic. Back at the sauna, Akino, Sauna and Tsubaki are left to their devices. So, ladies, are you willing to share him? Akino asked. I won't mind. It's Rias that I'm concerned with. She can be a bit possessive at times, especially when Issei saved her from Miser. I'm sure that she's grown possessive of him. Sauna confessed. I'm willing to share him. It's normal for a dragon to have multiple mates, but I wonder who he's going to mark first. Tsubaki answered. I do, residents. Evening. Issei and Rias are seen entering the home when they notice that all the lights were turned off. Issei in a panic crushed inside and called out for his mother. Mom, where are you in Asia? He bellowed. The two noticed the faint light that came from the living room and went there. Rias, go to my room and check on Asia. I sense her upstairs. Don't worry about being noticed. I casted a spell that seals your presence prior to us going here, Issei explained with Rias nodding in compliance. Mom? Issei called out with a worried face. Issei saw her mother, and 2 women wearing white church robes. One had orange hair styled into twin tails and purple eyes. The other had chin-length blue hair with a green fringe and brown eyes. Issei, welcome home. What's wrong? What's with the long face? Kalina pointed out. So, this is where the bad feeling I had came from, Issei thought. It's been too long, hasn't it, Issei-kun? The girl with twin tails spoke. You don't remember me? It's me. The girl pointed to herself. You're dumbass, it's Irina. Kalina berated her son while presenting a photo. What? Issei shouted in shock. She looked boyish back then, but now she looks like a proper woman. I couldn't even tell that it was her. Kalina spoke. What the hell? I legit thought she was a boy. Issei spoke in disbelief. That's no way to speak to a woman. Kalina interjected. I wouldn't blame you. I acted pretty boyish back then, Irina spoke up. Well, I can only say that I'm sorry. Issei apologized with a slight bow. A lot's happened to both of us, you even look different. Really different, you never know what's gonna happen when you see a friend after a long time, Irina spoke with a blush. Issei glanced at the brunette beside Irina with extreme suspicion. Irina noticed this, introduced her companion to Issei. Issei-kun, this is my partner, Zenobia Korda. Irina spoke. Pleased to meet you, Issei Hyoudou. Zenobia spoke in a neutral tone. Likewise, Zenobia, by the way, are you 2 exorcists and is that a holy sword with you? Issei asked. Irina and Zenobia gave the boy disturbed looks. Yes. We're exorcists, but how did you know? Zenobia asked. I know it when I sense it. Issei answered. Issei-kun, what really happened to you and Kalina-san? Both your appearances look way different from before. Irina asked in a demanding tone. Kalina sighed and decided to step up. Look, Irina-chan, all this time we know what the supernatural is and we're part of it. Issei and I are part devil and his father was a pure dragon, Kalina confessed. Is this true? Issei-kun. Irina looked at her childhood friend. Yes, for me I discovered it just recently, Issei answered. Irina at this point was in tears. Why, did you hide it from my family and I? Irina asked again in a desperate tone. It was my husband and I's fault. We sealed away Issei's power and changed his appearance in the hopes of letting him live a normal life. But we both knew that the supernatural would still find its way to get its hands on our son. It was going great for a while until a fateful day changed all that and forced me to unseal all of his powers. And I'm sure that your father Taoji knew what we were all along, Kalina spoke in a sad tone. I see. But by powers, what powers were unsealed in Issei? Irina followed up. To put it simply, Issei and I are descendants of Sparta. Irina and Zenobia sported looks of fear at the mention of Sparta. The legendary Dark Knight Zenobia spoke in shock. The devil who slaughtered an entire army and sealed Mundus? Irina now asked. Kalina can only nod with closed eyes. I can't believe it, to have been that close to descendants of Sparta. Irina trailed off. I'm sorry, Irina-chan, all we wanted for Issei was to be safe, but it was inevitable that he's gonna be a part of all this. Kalina spoke. Irina could only nod. Irina, I'm sorry too, even I was surprised by all of this when I first found out. Issei now spoke. It's alright, Kalina-san, Issei-kun, I still see you as my friend. Irina spoke with a smile while wiping her tears. Thank you, Irina-chan, Kalina spoke with tears. Kalina got up and hugged Irina. That's all the time we have. We'll be taking our leave. Kalina-san, Irina spoke as she separated from the hug. Alright, goodbye, and stay safe out there, Irina. Kalina spoke with a smile. The two members of the church got out and left the scene. That hug earlier stung a little, maybe she had a cross on her or something. Kalina lightly scratched her chest. Probably, yeah, and those holy swords they carry are a big deal. Issei spoke. Issei, do you think Karina really does see you as her friend? Kalina asked her son. No, not yet at least. It's gonna take her some time to process and accept what we just told her. Issei answered in a solemn tone. I see. All we can do is wait then, Kalina spoke. Issei went upstairs to his room and was presented with Rias holding Asia in a tight embrace. How are you two holding up? Issei asked the two devils. I'm fine, Ice, those holy swords really gave me the chills. Rias spoke in a slightly frustrated tone. I could say the same thing when the two of them entered the house. I immediately felt that something was wrong, like there was a disturbance. Asia answered. Tell me about it, I sensed it all the way from Sauna's home. Issei spoke while ripping out some of his hero posters. What are you doing? Rias asked. Well, these look disgusting to me now. I'm still a pervert, yes, but seeing a woman's naked body in the flesh turned a new leaf on me. Issei chuckled. Rias moved and checked under Issei's bed. Oh my, look at all this. Rias spoke in surprise when she uncovered a boatload of poor magazines and DVDs. Wow, you found my stash. I could sell them for a good chunk of change. Issei said, amused. Asia could only stare at the scene. Asia, don't mind these, I'm gonna get rid of them. Issei spoke. Little did they know that Asia hid one of the magazines in her uniform. They alright? Asia bluntly replied. Now that I think about it, I know someone who I can sell these to. Issei pondered. Is that so? I hope that your sale goes well. Rias chuckled. I'll be going home now, Asia. I stay safe. Rias spoke before teleporting out of Issei's room. You go back to your room, Asia. I'll be going out for a bit to sell these. Issei spoke. Alright, be careful out there. Asia spoke as she left for her room. Right. Pretty sure Azazel would buy these. Issei said to himself. Azazel's apartment. Issei knocked on Azazel's door while holding all the porn he wants to sell and waited for an answer. How can I help you? You again, Rainer scowled. Sup, Ray-chan, where's your dad? Issei asked his ex. He's here, and what's with the nickname? We aren't friends. Pops. That Issei kid is here again, Rainer called out. Oh? Let him in, Azazel answered. Issei now sat on one of Azazel's couches and waited for the phone. So, Issei, what do you have for me? Azazel asked the boy. Well, I figured you might want to buy all of my porn here, and I have some news for you, Issei answered while presenting the box of porn to Azazel. News later, show me the good stuff first, Azazel spoke in visible excitement. Azazel browsed through the whole thing and was thoroughly impressed by the boy's collection. It's the Holy Grail. You are a true porn enthusiast, my boy. Azazel spoke in admiration. Former porn enthusiast, seeing an actual woman's body made me a new man. Issei spoke proudly. That's very sad to hear, you have God's eyes when it comes to this. So, what's the news you want to tell me? Azazel grabbed his chin. Well, the church sent out 2 exorcists both wielding holy swords, and I'm certain that they're Excalibur fragments. Issei spoke in a serious tone. Pooh, that is news, but for what's going to come, those 2 are severely outclassed and outnumbered. Yeah, what's worse is that my childhood friend is one of them. Issei snarled. Now that's a bigger problem. I can't help you on this, kid, you're on your own. Azazel answered but was a bit ashamed. He grew fond of the boy, not for his sacred gear or power, but for who he is. I know, but it gets my blood boiling. Why the hell would they only 2 exorcists when they fully know that where they're going to send them is full-on devil territory? Issei spoke in anger. Maybe they didn't want the devils to think that they were sending an attack. They want to solve things with as little conflict as possible. Azazel answered, makes sense, by the way. Are you buying these? Issei asked, pointing at the stash. Hell yeah, I am. I've never seen porn in this quality. Azazel answered. Alright then, how much can you pay? Azazel asked. Take that painting over there, it's worth well over 10 million euros. Azazel pointed at the painting in question. 10 million euros, are you serious? Azazel bellowed. Yeah, take it. It's just gathering dust there, and I'm sure you'll get the 10 million euros at auction or sell it to a collector. Azazel answered while downing his drink. Holy shit, my degeneracy just made me 10 million. Issei spoke in disbelief. I'm sure with that amount of money, you're set for the next 5 years or so. Azazel spoke amused. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for the painting and enjoy. Spoke as he took the painting and wrapped it carefully. No problem, kid. See you around. Azazel waved goodbye too as he teleported back home. You're right. He really does have the holy grail of porn, Rainer spoke as she looked at the stash. Hey. No touching, I'm gonna enjoy these tonight. Azazel spoke with a smile. Next day, or clubroom afternoon, Issei and Rias are seated across the 2 exorcists. Rias Peerage minus Kiba, on the other hand, stood behind her and Issei. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us. My name is Zenobia. Zenobia spoke in a neutral tone. And I'm Irina Shido. Irina introduced herself. Why would followers of God want to speak with the devil? Rias asked the duo. Out of the 6 swords with their known locations, the church still has 3 of them, but 3 of them were stolen by fallen angels. Irina spoke, surprising everyone except to say, the ones we have are the ones that are left, the holy sword of destruction, Excalibur destruction. Zenobia spoke while presenting her sword wrapped in cloth. I have the holy sword of mimicry, Excalibur mimic. Spoke as she presented a white paracord neatly wrapped around her left arm. Well, what do you want us to do? Rias asked. This is between the church and the fallen angels. We don't need your interference. Zenobia glared at Rias. Is that an accusation? Are you assuming that we're in some sort of an alliance with the fallen? Rias asked the exorcist duo. Last time I heard, a holy sword is the last thing you want to see. Don't your interests match the fallen angels? Zenobia smirked at Rias. That was the last straw for Rias, and she released her aura laced with the pod. If our suspicions are held true, we will not hesitate and retaliate with force even if you're a Mayo's little sister. Zenobia spoke arrogantly. If you've got that much information on me, then know this. I will never side with the fallen. I would never do such a thing. I swear on my pride as a Gremry. Ria spoke, trying not to lose her cool. That's good enough to hear then. I was merely relaying the thoughts of the church. I didn't think that the sister of the Mayo would this stupid. Zenobia smirked. Issei's been quiet the whole time, but hearing this made him want to obliterate the blue net. Then I'm sure that you know that we won't give you any form of assistance either? Rias asked. Yes, it's fine as long as you don't intervene with anything that happens from here on out, Zenobia replied. Understood. Would you like some tea? Rias offered. No thanks, I'm not here to make friends with devils and we've taken up too much of your time. We'll be going now. Zenobia stood up. Zenobia glanced over to Asia. I thought it was possible when we visited Issei Hyoudu's home last night. Are you Asia Argento? Zenobia asked the blonde. Yes, I am. Asia answered, who was caught off guard. I didn't think I'd see a witch in a place like this. Zenobia spoke with venom in her voice. Hearing this, Asia was on the verge of tears. You're the former saint who was excommunicated for being witch. I heard that you were banished because you could heal fallen angels and devils, but I didn't know you'd become a devil. Irina asked, not knowing Asia's circumstances. Asia was left speechless. But for someone who had been called a saint to become a devil. No point I'm crying over spilled milk. Zenobia scowled at Asia. Issei's eyes were shadowed by his hair, but his crimson orbs glowed. Ria, seeing this, began to feel concern not for Issei, but the two exorcists. Enough, Issei whispered. Zenobia, she's a devil now. Irina spoke. I know, but there's the case of someone who remains pious even after their betrayal. She seems like one of them. Zenobia proclaimed. Hey Asia-san, do you still believe in God even after becoming a devil? Irina asked. I just can't give up on my faith. I had always believed in God, Asia answered with tears rolling down her cheeks. Enough. Issei spoke louder but was outright ignored. Then you should let yourself be executed by us right now. Even if you are sinful, our God will reach his hand in forgiveness. At least let yourself be convicted by my hand, under God. Zenobia announced. Do you mind stopping there if you're going to look down on my servants like that? Rias spoke sternly. I wasn't looking down on her. As a follower, it's natural to feel pity. Zenobia spoke while Issei and Rias sent death glares towards her. I said that's enough? Issei spoke, startling everyone in the room except Zenobia. Issei darted in front of Asia, protecting her. You dare call her a witch? Issei questioned the brunette. Yes, after what she did, she should be called a witch. Zenobia arrogantly spoke. Stop fucking around. You're the very same people who put her on a pedestal as a saint. Asia was always alone, and hearing you people call her a witch might be the joke of the century. Issei spoke with conviction. A saint could live with God's love alone. If she wanted to love in friendship, then she didn't have what it takes to be a saint. Zenobia replied, What the hell is faith in God? If you can't understand Asia's kindness, then you're a damn idiot, as he countered. What is Asia Argento to you? Zenobia asked. I'm her family, a friend, and if you raise a hand against her, then I won't hesitate to take on heaven itself, Issei declared as a spectral version of his sin devil trigger briefly flared around him. Rias and the others were startled at the sight of the spectral devil. Asia, on the other hand, didn't know how to react. No one has ever stood up for her. Seeing Issei do this had her at a loss for words. Who, is that a challenge to the whole church? You talk big for a devil. Zenobia spoke, not remembering what Issei and his mother told them last night. That's perfect. I'll take you on. A familiar voice spoke. Who are you? Zenobia glanced towards the voice revealing Kiba. Your senior. Kiba spoke. Budo. Ria spoke in uncertain. Everyone in the room left to go outside and prepared for the fight. Kiba and Issei stood across the exorcist duo, who removed their robes, revealing their battle suits, which was skin-tight and a little revealing for a church-issued outfit. Let us begin. Zenobia spoke. Is this allowed, fighting people from the church without permission? Aquino asked. This is just an informal fight, Rias answered. If the higher-ups found out about this, we'd be in deep trouble. Irina spoke as her Excalibur mimic took the shape of a katana. At least make it interesting without killing each other. Zenobia arrogantly spoke as her Excalibur Destruction's wrappings came of revealing her holy sword. DBA chuckled at the sight. You're laughing? Have you lost your mind? Zenobia asked the knight. Yeah, I am, because the one thing I wanted to destroy presented itself in front of me. Kiba answered arrogantly while summoning several demonic swords from Sword Birth. Sword Birth, I remember now, you were the one who escaped being disposed of in the Holy Sword Project. Zenobia spoke, angering the knight. I say hi to you. I can't believe that the boy from my past was a devil all this time. What a cruel fate. Irina spoke with sparkles in her eyes. I thought I would learn to use a holy sword, move far away, and become helpful. This is a trial from God. But if I overcome this, I will be a step closer to true faith. Irina added while squirming. So, she's obsessed with the Bible and its teaching, Issei thought to himself. Now, Issei-kun, I will judge your sins with my Excalibur. Amen. Irina spoke as tears welled up in the corner of her eye. Screw it. Let's go, Issei spoke while summoning Severance. Amen. Irina shouted, jumping up and slashing down on Issei, the latter blocking the attack easily. So much for not killing each other, Issei remarked sarcastically. Issei-kun, what is that? Aaron asked, pointing at Severance. This is my demonic sword. It's the amalgamation of Rebellion, Yamato, and Sparta, making one unique sword. Issei announced, surprising the Exorcist duo. That won't matter now, the thought of killing my old friend in my hometown. What a cruel fate, Irina spoke. If that's the case then. Astran announced as the gauntlet materialized from Issei's left arm. The Welsh Dragon's gauntlet? Zenobia questioned. Asia Argento's Twilight Healing and your Sword Birth, you've got a lot of firepower in this town. Zenobia added. My power comes from the resentment of my fallen comrades. The ones who died full of regret in their final moments. Kiba spoke as he drew one of the demonic swords he summoned. Kiba lunged forward and clashed swords with Zenobia momentarily. This is the same power that I'll use to destroy the Excaliburs along with their wielders, Kiba declared. The two continued to clash swords, Kiba adopting a defensive style of battle, knowing fully that a single cut of the Excalibur can be fatal to any devil. They're at a disadvantage, Aquino remarked. Yeah, just being touched by the sword can burn a devil, let alone being injured by one. I know Hyoudou can manage with his speed, but Issei seems to be holding back a lot. Rias spoke, earning confused looks from Aquino, Asia, and Kaneko. Holding back? Asia asked in confusion. You don't remember what happened earlier? When Issei confronted Zenobia, a ghost devil of sort formed around him, and I don't want to find out how strong that form of his is, nor do I want to see what it's like. I'm certain that if he's forced to use it, it's going to be the same devil who can take on entire armies, much like his great-grandfather. Rias explained. Where did you get all that information from? Aquino asked. Sauna had books about Sparta and some historical records, so I read up on Sparta. Rias answered with Irina and Issei. Irina went for an overhead slash. Issei simply blocked it again using his sword. Is that all you got, Irina? Issei asked in a slightly mocking tone. That's rather rude, Issei-kun. You being a devil is enough, but your heart is filled with evilness. Oh Lord, please don't forgive this sinful boy, Irina pleaded. I'm getting a headache from all her praying. Kaneko deadpanned while the others nodded in agreement. Issei fired a few summoned swords. Irina barely dodged all of them. What were those? Irina asked. Something you should watch out for. Catch. Issei replied with a smirk as he fired another barrage. The barrage hit Irina but didn't injure her severely, just ripping off some of her outfit's parts. It's about time we end this, Irina announced. Let's see it, Issei replied. Irina lunged forward, slashing sideways, managing to nick Issei's stomach, the latter stepping back from pain. Damn, that hurt. Issei recovered from the damage immediately. How is he not screaming in pain? It seemed like a good cut, Rias asked, concerned for the boy. Issei stepped back and played his own type fighting style. He constantly zones out Irina with his constant summoned swords barrage, preventing Irina from going near him. Ugh, this is getting annoying, Irina groaned. And closed the gap. Issei mocked the girl. Issei saw the opening and transformed Severance to its katana form, readying for judgment cuts. Issei fired 6 JCs towards Irina, hitting the girl, ripping her clothes apart, but not injuring her. Hiya! Irina screamed. I surrender. Irina covered her breasts. Nice rack, Irina. Issei spoke of Kiba and Zenobia. Kiba backed down for a bit, recovering from his assault. He then summoned two short swords that have the element of ice and fire. Kiba rushed towards Zenobia, flailing his twin swords in fury. Weak, Zenobia spoke, doing a single swing of her blade, completely destroying Kiba's demon swords. Zenobia stabbed the ground with Excalibur Destruction, creating a massive crater big enough to separate her and Kiba. The Holy Sword, Excalibur Destruction's name, isn't just for show. Even after being split into 7, it still has this much busting power. Then there's going to be a lot of chaos to destroy all 7. Kiba's sweat dropped, then smirked. Kiba summoned a larger demon sword, sacrificing his speed for more power. Let's see which one has more destructive powers, that holy sword or my demon sword. Kiba lunged at Zenobia. Shame. Zenobia countered Kiba by hitting the knight's gut with the axe-shaped hilt of her holy sword. Kiba coughed up blood and was rendered unconscious. Their only weapons were the different swords you have and your speed. Not only do you lack the strength to wield a larger sword, but you also sealed the speed you're so proud of. I can't believe you weren't able to notice that. Zenobia walked away. Wait. Kiba spoke, managing to regain his consciousness. Hide me again when you're thinking straight, senpai. Zenobia mocked the devil while picking up her robe. Hold on just a minute, Issei, stop the exorcist. What do you want, Issei? Zenobia questioned. How about this? If I win a duel between us, we can do whatever we want with whatever happens in this kerfuffle of yours, and I know exactly what you two were sent here for. Issei spoke in an ominous tone. Fine. Don't say I didn't warn you. Zenobia confidently spoke. That should be my line. Issei replied by summoning Severance. Greg, can the boosted gear take on a different form? The gauntlet's a little obscuring when I fight with my sword. No can do, partner. None of my hosts have done this, nor do I have the knowledge to do so. Drake replied. Ugh, looks like I need to be the first then. Issei replied as he focused all his demonic and draconic energy into the boosted gear. Everyone in the field felt a jolt of fear as Issei's power rose to ultimate class devil. The boosted gear began to glow, getting covered in an orange and green light. A minute passed, and the light faded away. Boosted gear, transformation complete, Drake announced as the boosted gear's new look is revealed. The gauntlet's bulky look was now replaced by a sleeker design that won't obstruct Issei's movements. It still had its signature green orb and 2 yellow spikes just in the lower profile, and the flaring on its side were significantly smaller. First time for everything, partner? Drake chuckled. Yep. Now let's kick some holy ass. Issei replied. Are you done? Because we don't have all the time in the world. Zenobia spoke, charging at Issei. Issei blocked the attack, but Zenobia followed up with another swing aimed at Issei's chest. He stepped back too little, giving him time to dodge, and with non-lethal buckshot Issei fired at Zenobia using Orion, with Zenobia stepping back from the blunt damage she received. That was good, but you're not using your sword. Zenobia spoke. Who said the fight was limited to swords only? Issei retorted, angering Zenobia. You will regret that. Zenobia stabbed Excalibur Destruction to the ground, making Issei lose his balance. Zenobia saw the opening and not a second less darted towards Issei with the intent to kill him. Issei, still trying to recover from the mini-earthquake, was too late to prevent Zenobia from stabbing him in the stomach. Ice. Issei-san? Ice-kun. Issei-senpai. Issei-kun. Rias, Asia, Akino, Kaneko, and Irina gasped as Issei's lifeless body fell over. Scene break. Ice. Issei-san. Ice-kun. Issei-senpai. Issei-kun. Brias, Asia, Akino, Kaneko, and Irina gasped as Issei's lifeless body fell over. Humph, all talk but no action. You may be a descendant of Sparta, but you're far too weak to be considered one. Zenobia spoke as she pulled out the sword from Issei and started to walk away. Oh, come on. Is that the best you can do? Issei got up, shocking everyone in the field again. How are you alive? Aren't you supposed to be weak to holy weapons? Zenobia demanded an answer. I'm a devil, all right, but what you didn't know is that I'm mostly dragon, 50% to be exact, so holy weapons deal normal amounts of damage to me. Shall we continue? Issei casually answered. Issei ramped things up by performing 5 boosts. He summoned a barrage of swords distracting the exorcist, giving enough time to dash forward and clash swords with the blinet for a moment. Issei used trickster style and teleported right in front of Zenovia's shoulder, bashing her, causing the exorcist to stagger. Issei pressed the attack further and decided to finish things. He staggered Zenovia even more with a wild swing from one half of Cavalier, forcing her back a few meters as they dashed forward, preparing to deal the final blow. But he stopped just inches before Severance could cut Zenovia's head off. Now we need a truce. You will give us the freedom to do whatever the hell we want because this is devil territory. Rias and Sauna watch over this very town, and if you don't let them do their thing, so help me whatever religious deity you believe and you will feel my wrath. Issei towered over the exorcist. Zenovia can only nod in fear as Issei removed Severance from her neck. Answer this for me, exorcist. Who stole the fragments? Issei asked. It's Kakabil, one of the leaders of the Grigori. Zenovia stuttered. Looks like Azazel's theory was right. Issei thought. Whatever it is, you two are trying to pull off will not work. It's a suicide mission. Issei spoke. We understand the dangers of this task. Someone from the church already died. A priest came here to check things out ahead of time. Irina explained. It was Fried Selzen who did it, Kiba spoke up. Fried, I thought I killed that bastard. Issei snarled. That stray priest? Rias wondered. I was there when the priest died. He definitely had a holy sword. The stray priest, thank you, will be taking our leave now. Irina dismissed herself and Zenovia. Berkeley room, nighttime. Hold on a moment, Hyoudou. You're a knight of the House of Gremory. Rias sternly spoke. I'm sorry, President. Kiba walked out of the room. Hi. Kiba-san. Asia spoke in a sad tone. That's that, I guess. Just hope that he won't do something stupid, but you, Issei spoke. I can only wait. Issei, do you know anything about Kakabil? Rias asked. Issei's sweat dropped, getting cornered for a moment. None. Like I said in our first meeting, I only knew the supernatural from my mother. Issei answered. Then how come you know about the holy swords and the fragments being stolen? Rias followed up. Issei knew that the jig was up and needed to answer truthfully. You got me, but whatever I say here stays inside this room. Got it? Issei spoke in a serious tone. The orc members could only nod. To make this short, I'll say the main things that happened. After my date with the fallen angel, I demanded her to take me to their leader. She led me to Azazel. I've been a sort of informant for the guy recently, and he seems like a pretty chill guy. Doesn't want any trouble. Just wants to live in peace with his video games, booze, and porn, Issei explained. Akendo gave Issei a look of disgust. Issei, noticing this, ignores it for now. You have ties with the Governor-General of Grigori. Rias spoke in shock. Yes. But I'm not affiliated with them, I'm still with you guys. I just wanted to make some connections that I think will benefit us greatly, Issei explained. Rias sighed in relief after hearing Issei's explanation. Just keep it a secret, for now. I don't want to be in a mess this early in the game. Issei spoke, preparing to leave with Asia. Wait, Ice, take me with you. Rias spoke. Why? Issei questioned. I'll be honest, ever since I shared your bed with you, I couldn't get enough of it, you know, clinging to you and all, sleeping next to you brings my mind at ease, and I want to move in with you. Rias spoke with so much passion, Issei blushed as red as her hair. Fine, come on then. Issei stuttered. Everyone in the club room left to go home. Abandoned church, nighttime. Irina and Zenovia are seen washing in a makeshift bath inside the church, discussing their current situation. Ugh, this is the worst. I can't even take a proper bath. This must be a trial from God. Irina spoke. Oh, is it now? You were the one who spent all of our money on this clearly fake painting of the saint. Zenobia pointed at the said painting. What do you mean? It's a holy person in that picture. The person at the exhibit said so too. Irina retorted, remembering the day she bought the painting. Pious, why is someone like you my partner? Zenobia face-bind. When you're depressed, you really get depressed, don't you? Irina spoke. Oh, shut it. Zenobia answered. Grumble. First of all, we need to get food. We're in no condition to retrieve Excalibur on empty stomachs. Zenobia proposed. I guess you're right. Why don't we threaten other people from other religions to get money? If it's people from other religions, God will forgive us. Probably, Irina explained. Then stealing from a temple offering box or something similar could work. Zenobia added. But thinking, that's gonna be a lot easier. Irina agreed. No, let's not do that. Zenobia pulled out. Yeah, let's not. Irina pulled out too. On a more serious note, Irina, how come you're childhood friends with a descendant of Sparta? Zenobia started a different topic. I really didn't know. I remember on my early years here, my family and I would always ask Kalina-san and Issei-kan to go to church with us, but strangely enough, they never went with us. We kept close ties to them until I moved away with my family overseas. I didn't know why we moved as well, only yesterday did I finally get my answers as to everything I thought of. Irina answered in a solemn tone. I see that man. Issei Hyoudou. He could have killed both of us there, but he chose not to. The feeling of that sword of his nearly cutting me still remains. Zenobia caressed her neck. You said it, I only managed to nick him, and he didn't even flinch. I have a very bad feeling that he was holding back by a massive amount. Irina spoke in an ominous tone. Irina, do you think we should get help? Now that I think about it, this is a suicide mission. There's no way we can defeat a cadre on our own. Zenobia admitted. Are you thinking of recruiting a Seikuna that night? Irina asked. Yes, but after what we did, I'm sure he won't listen, nor will the knight. Zenobia answered. Let's just pray and hope something good happens to us. Irina spoke. I do residence, nighttime. Issei is seen soaking in his bath and talking to his dragon. There's so much going on right now, Drage. There's a cadre going here, the inevitable fusion of Excalibur, the inevitable battle with our rival, and worst of all, the promotion exams. Issei vented. I'm surprised that you're more concerned about the promotion exams rather than the battle with the White One or the cadre who's sure to pick a fight with the devils and angels. Drake spoke. It's about time I call Tiamat. I have something for her to do. Issei grabbed his chin. What's is it? Drake asked. The next devil arm I'm gonna get, Issei answered. Why not King Cerberus? It has 3 elements for you to use. Drake proposed. Yeah, you're right, that settles it. We're getting King Cerberus and an eye, and Rudranax. Issei spoke in high spirits. Issei contacted Tiamat via Magic Circle. Yes, Master, Tiamat answered. Hey, Tia, I need you to do some scouting for me. Issei requested. Who or what am I going to scout? Tiamat asked. I need you to scout a person named Enzo Faringo and look for King Cerberus in the Himalayas. Enzo Faringo, however, I don't have any leads on his whereabouts. Issei explained. Very well, I'll do my best, though Enzo Farino is a familiar name. Tiamat answered. You know him? Issei asked. Yes. But it was mainly for business. I know that he sells and trades demonic weapons and relics. He almost went insane from handling one. Tiamat answered. I see, go to Enzo Farino first and get a pair of swords named Denai and Rudra. King Cerberus can be obtained for another time. Our current situation here is about 2 in a downward spiral, Issei instructed. All right. Can you do one thing for me, Master? Tiamat asked. Name it, Issei answered. Please continue calling me Tia. Tiamat answered in a seductive tone and cut off the connection. Looks like she's head over heels for you, partner. Drake spoke and used. What makes you say that? Wondered. For dragons, when they find a suitable mate, especially females, if they love their mate so much, they'll drop their pride and submit to their mate. Tiamat here willingly submitted to you, better pick an alpha for your harem partner. Tiamat's not known for her patience, and there are a lot of choices, Drake explained. I will, and I have a feeling that it's gonna be soon. Issei answered. Issei went out of his bath at the sound of his phone ringing from outside their bathroom. Yo, Kaneko-chan, what made you call at a time like this? Issei answered the call. Issei-senpai, I need you to meet me at the cafe in the main street after classes. Saji-senpai is coming as well. Kaneko asked. Alright, what's the matter though? Issei answered. You'll find out tomorrow, but I'm sure you know who this is about. Kaneko answered cryptically. Fine, I'll see you tomorrow, bye. Issei hung up the call. Gwa Main Street, noon. Issei, Kaneko and Saji are seen sitting together in the cafe discussing the situation at hand. So, Kaneko-chan, what's with the meeting here? Saji began the conversation. It's about Yuto-senpai. Kaneko answered. Let me guess, you want to find him and bring him back to his senses? Issei asked. Yes, the club isn't the same without him. Kaneko answered. It's Ryo-senpai's night, he's on the road for vengeance. But for what? Saji pondered. Excalibur. Issei answered shortly, but that made it clear to Saji that Kiba has a history with Excalibur. How are we gonna go on about that? Saji asked. We're going to destroy it. He's never going back until it's done. Issei answered in a serious tone. I refuse. Sagi bellowed, causing the cafe patrons to look at him. Look, Hyoudou, you may be strong as hell, and I know you can act on your own because you have your own peerage. But so Nikachi's gonna kill me if she finds out about this. And I'm pretty sure Kaneko-chan's gonna get punished by Ryo-senpai too, Saji added. I know, but you have to make a real choice now. Do you want out or are you helping us? Issei stared at Saji. I'm sorry, but I can't. The risks are too much for me. Sagi answered in a solemn tone. Alright then, let us walk you home at least for taking your time, Issei offered, Sagi nodding in acceptance. The trio are seen walking until they noticed two hooded figures around the corner, begging the citizen for money. Issei immediately knew that the two figures were Irina and Zenobia. Blessings upon these wandering sheep, Zenobia spoke. Have mercy on us, O Lord. Irina begged. The trio approached the two. What the hell are you two doing? Issei asked the exorcist duo, startling them. Begging. Irina answered. How come? Didn't the church provide you with money to feed you at least? Issei asked again. Irina here spent all of our money on a fake painting of a saint. Zenobia answered in an irritated tone. Grumble. With us, I know a place to grab food, Issei sighed. I refuse to accept pity from a devil. Zenobia scowled. It's your funeral. Issei started to walk off. Wait, fine, we'll come. Irina stepped in. Family restaurant in Kwa. Irina and Zenobia are seen eating plate after plate of food Issei ordered to them, ranging from a hamburger plate, a muris, an actual steak, salads, ramen, donburi and udon noodles. Delicious. Irina, the food in this country is amazing. Zenobia spoke, finishing her muris. This is it. The simple but delicious food from a family restaurant is my soul food. Irina finished her bowl of rice. Granted, they're warriors, they sure eat a lot. Saji remarked. I'm pretty sure they haven't eaten since they arrived here. Issei added. The pair finished all their food in a matter of minutes. What just happened? Even if it's to strengthen our faith, the world must be ending to be saved by a devil. Zenobia spoke in shame. We've sold our souls to the devil. Irina clasped her hands together. Now I'm having second thoughts on buying you two the food. Issei sighed. Lord, please have mercy on these kind devils. Irina and Zenobia prayed. Issei, Kaneko and Saji grabbed their heads from the pain. We don't need God's blessings. Issei spoke in irritation. I'm sorry. I just did it out of habit. Irina covered her mouth. Well, why did you bring us here? Surely you have other motives other than feeding us? Zenobia asked. Make it simple. We want to help in destroying Excalibur, Issei answered. Looking at the situation right now, and the conditions you set at our duel yesterday, I don't see much of a choice here. Fine. You can destroy one of them. Zenobia recalled. Zenobia, are you sure this is the right decision? Irina asked her partner. Even if we refuse, they'll still go after them, so why not take the helping hand even if the hand is that of the devil? Zenobia answered. I really thought you two would decline in a heartbeat, Saji chimed in. They have one of the leaders of the fallen, Kakabil, with them. It's near impossible for us to recover the swords. Zenobia explained to her partner. I know, but Irina was cut off. Our chances of coming out alive are close to none, Zenobia interrupted Irina. But we already knew that, right? Irina spoke. Yeah. We were sent here fully knowing the dangers the mission has. Even I start to question the church's decision-making. It really is a suicide mission. Irina spoke in fear. Yes, Irina, the two of you are guaranteed to die if the two of you did this alone. Issei sternly spoke. Now we need Kiba's input on this. Lucky for us. The guy is nearby. Issei added. Issei and the rest made their way out of the restaurant, going to the park where Issei sensed the knight. They approached the knight with caution and explained the situation. I see, it's ironic for an Excalibur user to approve of its destruction. Kiba glared at the two exorcists. You're one to talk, didn't you leave the house of Gremory? We can consider you a stray and execute you right here if you want, Zenobia retorted, grabbing her sword. That's one way of seeing it, Kiba answered by summoning a demonic sword. Enough. We're not here to kill each other, we're here to come up with a plan on how we can do this thing. Issei stopped the two from killing each other. Kiba and Zenobia complied and put away their weapons. I understand why you loathed the Holy Sword Project. It was one of the most heinous acts done by the Church. It's also the reason why the person responsible was branded a heretic and excommunicated. Zenobia explained. And that man is Valpar Galilei, the Archbishop of Annihilation. Irina chimed in, speaking in a serious tone. So, this was the sketchy stuff Azazel mentioned. Issei thought. Valpar Galilei, that man was responsible for their deaths, Kiba whispered to himself. I told you that among his tool was a stray priest. Right. Zenobia asked. Greed Selzen, chimed in. It's not uncommon for people banned from the church to collaborate. There's a possibility that Valpar is involved in the events this time. Zenobia explained. Not a possibility he is involved, Issei thought, amused. After hearing that, there's no reason for me not to cooperate then, Kiba answered. It's decided then. Irina joyfully spoke. We'll return the favor for the food some other time, Issei Hyoudou. Zenobia and Irina walked away. That went well. Issei spoke. Went well my ass, they could have killed us, and we could have started a war with the church. Sigi bellowed. Don't be a baby, I'm the mediator around these parts. Issei countered. Issei-kun. I want you all to stay away from this no matter what. This is my revenge and I can't involve. Kiba was cut off. Diba, I'll be honest here. You can't do shit against Excalibur. It's a lose-lose situation. No matter how you look at it, that match with Zenobia was solid proof of it. If you couldn't stand up against her, then what can you do against Eri? Issei dropped a bomb on Kiba. I know, but I don't want you guys to get involved or hurt. Kiba spoke in a sad tone. Issei grabbed one of Kiba's shoulders and looked him straight in the eyes. What do you think would happen if you went on with your revenge alone? Would you really let yourself be a stray devil? Just think about how Rias would feel if she lost her a part of her family. Are you really fine with this? Issei ground the knight. You're right, without but you, I wouldn't be alive today. As if it was planned by fate for me to meet her. It was on the final days of the Holy Sword Project. Every day of our lives we were experimented on. Our freedom was taken, and we were treated more as livestock rather than human. Even so, everyone believed that they were chosen by God. It was our so-called faith and the belief that we would be special that kept us going through it all. Then tragedy struck. Not one of us was able to adapt and wield the holy sword. The experiment ended in utter failure. We were then ordered to be disposed of to conceal what had really happened, even vomiting blood, writhing in pain, having trouble breathing because of the poisonous gas and being shot at. We looked to God for help, but to our demise, no one answered our pleas for help. Kiba reminisced. Flashback. Run away. Save yourself, run and don't look back. Go as far as you can. The dying voices of Kiba's comrades echoed through the halls of the facility as he ran away. Dibba ran and ran until he was no longer in sight of the killers, but he tripped on the thick ladder of snow and extreme exhaustion. He laid there face down, preparing to accept his death. I can't die yet. I must live for them until I get my revenge. I will not die, a young Kiba weakly said. A lady with crimson red hair approached the young boy. If you're going to die, I'll take you in. Live for me. Ria spoke to the boy. Flashback end. I can't thank the president enough for letting me be a part of her peerage and family, but I was only able to run away because of my comrades. That's the reason why I must destroy Excalibur with this demon's sword filled with their emotions. That's my duty as the only survivor, my atonement, and my burden. Kiba spoke in a sad tone, gripping his hand. I had no idea you had such a tragic past. I've decided that I'll lend a hand with everything I have. I don't even care whatever punishment Sona Kaichu will dish out on me, Saji tearfully spoke. Brush some balls, Issei remarked. I will also help. I'll be really sad if you're not around here, Yoto-senpai. Kaneko grabbed Kiba's sleeve. Fine. I'll accept your help. Kiba answered with a smile. Took you long enough. Let's go home for now then. See you guys in school. Issei started to walk off. The eyes had different intentions and decided to call Rias through a magic circle. Issei, what's with the sudden call? Rias asked through the line. Rias, we found Kiba, and I have to tell you something in person. Issei spoke. Oh. Thank the Mayo. And what is it you want to tell me in person? Rias said, relieved. I'll have to be there for you to find out. Issei answered. Fine, Sona, do you mind if Ice comes here? We have urgent business to discuss. Rias asked her friend. Sure. Sona hesitantly answered. Sona's there too. Perfect. This concerns her pawn too, Issei added. Yes. We're in her personal sauna again. She said you can teleport directly through the changing room. Rias explained. All right. See you in a bit. Issei cut off the link. Issei rang his phone calling his mother. Yes, Issei dear, Kalina answered. Hey Mom. Is Asia home? I couldn't go home with her because I was doing some business with Irina and the others. Issei spoke. Yeah. A girl named Aika Kiryu escorted her home, so she's safe here. Kalina explained. Good. I'll be going to Sona's place to discuss more business. Issei spoke in relief. All right then, bring some condoms at least. Kalina spoke amused. Mom. Issei hung up. Sona's personal sauna. Issei stripped himself down to a towelette and went straight into the sauna where a naked Rias and Sona were seated one spot apart, the middle seemingly left for Issei to sit in. Sup ladies, I'm here. Issei walked up to the two. Vulcanized, take a seat here. Rias welcomed the boy. So, Ice, what is it about? Rias asked. Well, I'm here to tell you that we've struck a deal and are going to work with the exorcists. Issei opened. What? How did this happen? Rias asked in shock. Long story short, we saw them begging in the streets and I took them out to eat, explained the situation at hand. We found Kiba, they talked it out and agreed on letting us destroy one of the fragments. Issei summarized. And what does this have to do with Sigi? Sona chimed in. He's a part of this too. At first he chickened out because he was scared of you punishing him, but when Kiba explained his past to us, he immediately agreed to help. Issei explained, that idiot, he would have gotten himself killed if not for you being there. Sona spoke in relief. Did I make a mistake? What did I do wrong for him to go rogue like this? Rias pondered. You didn't, Rias. It was mainly Kiba's emotions taking over him. I could tell from the look on his eyes, he won't stop at anything to complete his revenge. Issei answered, he's a part of your house, right? Sona asked. Yes, no matter what, I won't let him go like that, Rias sighed. The Gremory house is known for their strong bonds among their family members, yes? Sona asked, Rias nodding in agreement. Then I'm sure that Kiba-kun will return. Sona answered with an uncharacteristic smile. Thank you, Sona Ice. Rias smiled at the two. Sona, there's something I have to ask you. Issei looked towards Sona. And that is? Sona asked, confused. Sigi's sacred gear, can you give me some insight on it? Issei cried. It's called absorption line. It can slowly drain someone's energy when its tongue sticks to someone. Sauna explained. I can see why he's worth 4 of your pieces. Issei admitted. 3 holograms of Okino, Tsubaki and Tiamat suddenly appeared in front of their prospective kings. Pardon our sudden intrusion. Okino respectfully spoke. Good evening, master, I have good news for you. Tiamat greeted Issei. Rias and Sona went wide-eyed at seeing Tiamat suddenly make an appearance. But Kendo and Tsubaki were visibly surprised by the Dragon King's appearance, and blushed to see Issei in all his naked glory. So, Tia, what do you have for me? Issei asked his rook. I'll save that for last, let's hear what the 2 queens have to say. Tiamat teased. Alright, Tsubaki, lay it on us. Sona requested. We caught wind of a stray priest in the town again, and sure enough he was carrying a holy sword, we just don't know what sword it is. Tsubaki reported. What did the priest look like? Ish chimed in. All we know is that he had long white hair, Akino answered. Creed Selzen? Damn it. How that bastard survived is beyond me. I diced the guy to death for Sparta's sake, and yes, it's guaranteed that he carries a fragment of Excalibur, maybe even more. Issei vented. I see. Good work you on both your parts. Rias spoke to the 2 queens. Dia, your turn. Issei spoke to his rook. I have acquired an eye and Rudra. Tiamat smirked, presenting the 2 blades. Is that our new host? The orange blade spoke. Wait, they talk? Issei asked in shock. Yes, and they do it constantly, but no worries, they get along well and won't annoy you. Tiamat explained. I see, seeing as they're alive, I can't put them inside my pocket dimension. I'll have to figure out a way to alter their appearance. But first of all, how did you get them? Issei pondered. Enzo was fairly easy to convince, and I bought them off of him for a fair price, that being paying his entire tab at a bar he frequently goes to, and with my cave full of treasure, paying him was child's play. Tiamat summarized. I see. Great job on that, Issei complimented Tia. Greetings, new host. I am an eye. The orange blade suddenly introduced itself. And I am Rudra, the turquoise blade spoke. Issei, I'm sure you know my grandfather Dante, right? Issei asked the 2 blades. Yes, he was the best host we've had, and now we are expecting the same from you seeing as you resemble him a lot. And I and Rudra spoke, finishing each other's sentence. I like you 2 already, can't wait to fight baddies with you 2. Spoke in excitement. Likewise, I say hi to, we will see you soon. And I answered, one more thing, Mace Tiamat. Tia, I'd like you to do the same with me and call me by my name. You know we dragons aren't for formalities. Issei requested. Very well, Issei. Tiamat seductively spoke. The last thing I want to say is that King Cerberus has returned to its devil form. He's currently residing deep within the Himalayas. I sensed it there as I was traveling to see Enzo. Tiamat explained. Wow. Not even 2 days and you already got the twins and the lead on Cerberus. Issei spoke amazed. Anything for you, Essie. Tiamat spoke as her hologram disappeared. Now that's taken care of, Rias, wanna go home? Essie asked. Rias and Sona smirked with half-lidded eyes and nodded to one another, and closed in on both sides of Essie. The 2 devils grabbed Essie's arms, pressing their breasts on them, Rias on the right and Sona on his left. Ice, we're not going home just yet. Rias whispered seductively in Issei's ear. Since you're inevitably going to end up with multiple women in your life, we thought that we needed a head start, Sona said, biting and licking Issei's ear. I can't believe it. I'm about to get laid. In a sauna, no less. Issei's mind was about to explode from the thought. Both heiresses looked down and noticed the huge bulge sticking out between Issei's leg. Rias took the initiative and knelt in front of it. Rias saw an enormous tree trunk. It was 11 inches in length and a few inches thick. Rias decided to sniff it, and was entranced by its extremely erotic smell. Oh, Mayo, look the size of this thing, Rias said, stroking Issei's. Issei couldn't hold back moaning in pleasure, but his mouth was sealed by Sona kissing him. Pay attention to me as well. Sona licked Issei's cheek. Sauna and Issei proceeded to make out while Riot's doing work, giving Issei a hand, slowly but surely increasing the speed of hers. Horus struggled to moan with Sauna intertwining with the devil-dragon hybrid. Sauna broke out of the makeout session with both her and Issei gasping for air. Issei in particular is struggling as the constant waves of pleasure that he felt is making it hard for him to keep his composure and draconic instincts in check. Rhea stopped, leaving confused. Said confused. I need to adjust the position. Rhea said, taking her seat next to Sauna. Shall we? Rias looked at her. Yes, we shall. Sauna replied. Sauna grabbed Issei's member and continued the hand. Rias on the other hand starts caressing Issei's balls. Sauna soon increased her pace. She noticed that Issei started swelling, indicating that he was close. Rias joined in with Sauna, their two hands in sync of stroking Issei. Now for me. Rias bit his ear. No, for me. Sauna licked Issei's ear. The two heiresses went faster, faster, and faster for us. Rias and Sauna said in unison. The blow amazingly hit Rias and Sauna's face and chest. That was amazing. Issei panted. The heiresses scooped up the semen that stuck on them and drank it in front of Issei. I could get addicted to this, Rias said as saliva dripped from her mouth. You said it? Sauna replied, licking her hand. They were surprised to see still rock hard. Smirks immediately crept up their faces. We're not finished just yet. Rias again knelt with Sauna beside her. Rias and Sauna looked up and were both shocked. They didn't see Issei's regular crimson eyes. They saw golden slit eyes that spelled trouble and pleasure for both of the heiresses. Good luck, devil girl. I'm certain that you won't feel your behinds after this. Drage spoke as a green light appeared on Issei's left hand. In a display of speed, Issei suddenly stood up, grabbed Ria's whole body and flipped her. Issei proceeded to lick Ria's while carefully handling her, trying not to drop the devil. The latter being confused and feeling good at the same time. Ria's could only see the floor and Issei, the heiress, decided to suck it. She started off with a steady pace, wrapping her legs behind Issei's head, then hugging him, making sure not to fall. She continued her head up and down, stopping occasionally to moan due to the boy's skill. Sauna took a seat on the bench and presenting herself in front of Issei, the latter reaching her own thing, doing his handiwork, pleasuring the other heiress. Issei's mind was in disarray. His instincts and logic were in constant conflict, fighting for dominance, and who gets control over his sexual experience. Ria's head at this point was as red as her hair due to the blood pooling up in her head. She taps Issei's side, signaling that she can't take it anymore. Issei, noticing this, laid on the moist and warm floor of the sauna. He also gestured for Sauna to come near him. He continued his work of pleasuring the two heiresses by ramping up his abzona and increasing his intensity with Rias. Rias felt Issei's swell again. She wrapped her tongue around it and her head faster while massaging it. I'm close. Said. Me too, Sauna said. Rias said, muffled. Rias went even faster, nearly getting dizzy from the speed. Now worked his and fingers with Rias and Sauna more. Roared. Sauna orgasmed. Rias moaned, muffled. Rias and Sauna both screamed on Issei's face, covering the boy with their fluids, Issei managing to swallow so much to his distaste. Issei's flowed inside Ria's mouth so much that she was forced to pull out from the sheer amount. Ria gestured Sauna to come to her with puffed cheeks. She proceeded to kiss Sauna, sharing it with her, dripped off their lips, and the sounds of light moans and swallowing echoed through the sauna. Issei was enjoying the show, with one of his eyes returning to its crimson color, indicating that he has control over his instincts as a dragon. Rios and Sauna broke out of their make-out transfer session and looked at the ace with lustful eyes. You ready for more? Sauna took the initiative, standing over Ace, who still laid on the floor and of course has still rock twitching. You know I am. Issei spoke as Sauna lined her up with Issei's. Hey! I'm getting first blood, Riaz interjected. You had his first blow, can I at least get first penetration? Sauna retorted. Ugh, fine. You'll do me after her, right, Ice? Riaz asked with puppy dog eyes. You'll for sure get it. Essie smirked. Here goes. Ihhhh. Sauna moaned as Essie penetrated her for the first time. Blood slowly trickled down. Sona's Essie grew concerned and decided to pause. Be alright? Issei asked. Why yes, I'll give you a nod when I'm ready. It's a little painful, Sona admitted. Sona nodded, but instead of Issei doing the moving, it was her who slowly bounced up and down. It's filling all the way, Sona squealed. They're too tight, groaned. It feels so good, Sona moaned with her tongue out from the pleasure. The sounds of flesh clashing and slushing of Sona's wet, and Sona sent Riaz in a thirst for the same treatment. She couldn't hold back anymore and decided to pleasure herself while watching the two go at it. 10 minutes passed from Sona bouncing on all the while Riaz joined in by making out, her receiving the same, took control and bent Sona over, doing her from behind. Suddenly Sona's upper body collapsed from the pleasure of Issei from behind, using long and strong strokes, making her but jiggle from the sensation. Sona, I'm about. Where do you want it? Issei moaned from the ecstasy. In? Sighed, Sona barely blurted out. Issei, hearing this, ramped up his pace, even using a boost to increase his sensitivity. Sona. Issei groaned. So am I. Sono moaned as she felt hers and Issei's mix. Issei felt so good that he continued to orgasm for a minute straight, completely filling her up. Sona passed out and had a look of extreme pleasure. Her eyes were rolled back from the riveting experience. Riaz saw this and was visibly aroused and excited, anticipating that Issei gives her the same, or maybe even more. Oh, my turn. Riaz called, spreading her legs for Issei to see. Issei approached Riaz. Clean me up first. Issei smirked. Ugh, fine. Riaz complied. Riaz laid prone on the sauna's C10, gave Issei a cleanup. Given that Issei was extremely sensitive, it wasn't long until he blew another load in Riaz. Riaz gladly swallowed the entire thing up. The sound of Riaz's lips made as she finished cleaning up Issei. There we go, all better. Riaz pressed her face on Issei's heart. Alright then, sit upright, Issei requested. Riaz complied and looked Issei in the eyes, readying herself. You ready? Issei asked. Just do it, I've been waiting too long for this. Riaz begged. Issei complied and lined his up with her. He slowly pushed it in, but to his surprise, Riaz was already broken. Issei waited for Riaz to give the go signal, as this was her first time too. Riaz gave him the green light. Issei started with slow and long, making sure that Riaz feels his hole. Do me faster, Riaz requested. Issei complied and briefly pulled out. He grabbed Riaz's legs and folded her top a V shape. Wait, Riaz was interrupted by the force Issei used to penetrate her. Issei's pace tripled in speed, nearly making Riaz pass out. You're the best. Make me feel more ice, Riaz moaned as she draped her arms over Issei, kissing the boy. Their sweaty bodies and slimy exteriors made sounds that fueled both of their lusts more. Then minutes passed and Issei switched up their positions, Riaz taking control by doing every position, using her plump body to bounce on Issei's. Issei went up and groped Riaz from behind and bit her neck as she continued to bounce. It feels so good, Riaz moaned. By turn again, Issei said, rotating Riaz to face him. Issei stood and carried Riaz by her legs. Riaz draped her arms around his neck as Issei started a steady pace of thrust that hit to the right spots. I love you, Riaz said, closing her face in. I love you too, Riaz. Issei replied as he kissed Riaz and made out while thrusting. They used another boost to increase his pace again. The position they were doing it at was so extreme that both moaned in unison while still making out. Riaz, I'm close. More ice, I wanted. Riaz orgasmed from Issei's pace. Humming, Issei groaned. Riaz reared her head back from the wave of pleasure that hit her. She orgasmed for a second time in a matter of seconds, making it more pleasurable for her. Issei pulled out. Huff, 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 huff. Both Riaz and Issei panted from their more than good experience with each other's bodies. Wait, Riaz, will both of you get pregnant from this? Issei was snapped out of his trance. No, devils have low fertility rates, so we can fuck like rabbits if we want, Riaz explained. I see. Wanna go home now? Issei asked. Yeah, let's go. Riaz smiled. They left a note for the still passed out and inseminated Sauna of their leave. Issei and Rias directly teleported to Issei's home, quickly taking a shower to wash off the smell of sex. They immediately went to his room. Rias and found a naked Asia on his bed, but paid it no mind. Rias stripped naked and went on his bed. Followed and went in snuggling with Rias. Hey, do you want to make this official? Issei asked. Yes. I love you, Ice. What I said before was true. I truly do love you. Ever since you saved me from Riser, my feelings for you grew, Rias confessed. She scooched nearer. Then let's seal the deal. Issei smiled. The two passionately kissed and cuddled themselves to sleep. I do residence. Morning. Issei, Rias, and Asia are seen eating breakfast in comfortable silence until Kalina broke the silence. So, did anything happen last night? Kalina looked towards Issei and Rias. Nothing. We just discussed what our next move is against the fallen angels and Rouge members of the church. Issei shrugged. Why didn't you use the front door to go home last night? Kalina cried. Well, it was midnight by the time we finished. We figured that you and Asia were asleep, so we teleported to my room directly. Issei answered. Issei, I'm not dense enough to not notice the glow you two are radiating. You two went all the way, didn't you? Kalina teased both Issei and Rias. The two devils had visibly blushed. So, Rias, how was he? Kalina asked the still flustered Rias. He was amazing. I hope you don't see us differently from this. Rias answered bashfully. Us? Kalina asked in confusion. We had a threesome with my best friend Sauna. Rias confessed. Why, threesome? Issei. Kalina stared aimlessly. What's a threesome? Asia innocently asked. Pete pay it no mind Asia, he? Kalina regained her bearings. Anyways, let's go to school, you two. Issei gestured Rias and Asia to come with him. The trio said their goodbyes to Kalina and walked their way to school. Funny enough, when they were closing in on the school, the student body noticed Rias and Issei's glow as they walked arm in arm together. You're kidding, why is Rias senpai all overduvy with Hyoudou? A male student cursed. Look at them glow, did they go all the way? A female student speculated. All hope is lost, men, we lost one of the great one he sends. One of the male students cried. They look so good together. Another female student cheered. Rumors started to spread like wildfire. Rumors of Issei dating Rias and them going all the way. Rias separated from Issei as she was approaching her classroom. See you at the club room, Ice. Rias kissed Issei's cheek. No fair. Asia chimed in from jealousy. Needless to say, all the students who saw the scene, especially the boys, were envious of Issei. Issei's classroom. Issei is seated in his classroom waiting for homeroom to start as Aika and the perverted duo approached him. So? Issei nonchalantly asked. What do you mean so? You and Rias senpai are the talk of the entire school. Aika retorted. What do you mean by that? Issei asked. I say, you're talking to a pervert here. I know when a man gets laid, that glow of yours is a prime tell of it. Ike fixed her glasses and smirked. What? You mean to tell you Say got laid with Rias senpai? Matsuda bellowed, causing their classmates to look towards them. Yeah, we did a draw. Issei gloated. All the students gasped at the revelation. Issei, mark my words, someday you'll be killed by all the boys in the school. Masuda tearfully said. That includes us. Motohama tearfully added, oh. Aika thought of something. Aika closed in on Issei. She grabbed his inner shirt and pulled it back, revealing the numerous amounts of hickeys on his lower neck and collarbone. There it is. The ultimate piece of evidence, needed he. Aika smirked, fixing her glasses. When will I get laid with Issei-san, humph? Asia whispered to herself. That's enough. Sensei's about coming. Issei fixed his shirt. Classes went on as usual until lunch break. Issei and Asia were excused to go to the Orc Club room for club activities. Orc Club room. The Orc members minus Kiba greeted the two when they arrived in the room. Bachu, can you get Sona Kaichu and Sabaki Fukuikeichu to come here? Alright, Okino, would you mind fetching them? Rias requested. Hi, but you. Akino happily answered before leaving the room. 5 minutes passed and Akino came back with Sauna and Tsubaki. "Greetings, Sauna. Ice here has a few things to discuss with us," Rias said with a smirk. "All right, let's hear it." Sauna sat down smirking at Rias as well. Akino and Tsubaki found it strange when both their kings acted out of character. The night, Kiba, Saji, Kaneko, and the exorcists will be coming with me on a manhunt for Fried Selzen to try and get some answers from him. "I'll report what we find out once we're finished," Issei explained. "Do you think this Valper Galilei going to be there?" Rias asked. "Maybe, he may even come with more strays like Fried." Issei scowled. "All right then. I leave Kiba to you, Ice." Rias sipped her tea. "Please look after Saji for me, he can a little emotional at times," Sauna requested. Suddenly, a light blue Sparta magic circle appeared in the middle of the room. Tiamat soon came out of it. The orc members plus Sauna and Tsubaki were startled from Tiamat's presence alone. "Greeting Dragon King Tiamat, it's a pleasure to meet you," Rias gracefully spoke. "A pleasure as well, I'm sure you felt it last night, didn't you? The same goes for you, Citri," Tiamat answered with a smirk. The two heiresses immediately sported flustered looks. "What? How did you?" Rias stammered. "Youngling, from the 1,000 of years I've lived, I've smelled a lot of things and the smell of sex is one of them," Tiamat revealed, tapping her nose. "Issei's smell is everywhere on both of you and both of yours on him," Tiamat added. Everyone in the room except Asia was flustered at the revelation. Some were innocent of the act of sex, especially Asia, who's a bit oblivious to adult themes in love. "Surprise, surprise, Tia, what brings you here?" Issei asked the rook. "I'm here to deliver your new toys, Issei." Tiamat pulled out an eye on Rudra. "Greetings, Issei." "Hi, dude. Seeing you in person is quite the experience. We can sense your grandfather's power in you, but what is this other being I sense?" And I spoke. "I'm half dragon." Issei shrugged. "I told you, brother, I could sense it the moment this dragon delivered us here," Rudra proclaimed. "That's enough. I need to figure out how to change your forms, because if I store the both of you in my pocket dimension, you'll both die," Issei explained. "We have that covered already." And I and Rudra answered in unison as they began to glow and shrink in size. A few moments pass, and the twin swords turn into two rings linked by a chain, and I had a gold shank, and his face acted as the jewel, and Rudra copped a silver shank, and his face also acted as the jewel. Issei wore the two rings on his right hand, and I went to his index finger, and Rudra was slipped on his ring finger. "How's the fit?" and I asked. "Perfect, now let me test you two out." Issei summoned the two in their sword form. Issei focused his energy on the two blades. The blades responded by amplifying their elemental powers. Issei performed various moves ranging from a wild rush that utilized both blades, smooth spinning combos that is sure to obliterate anyone caught in its wake, a mid-air combo that concludes with Issei rolling in the air, connecting the two to form a double-bladed sword. He spins the sword, creating a pillar of flame amplified by Rudra's wind, stabbing it on the ground, creating a mini explosion and a flurry of slashes that utilized the elements Anai and Rudra offered. "Impressive," Rudra remarked. "Thanks. I'm impressed with you too as well, but at first I thought Rudra had control over ice. Wind is something I never thought would be great with fire." Issei smiled, looking at the two blades. "Of course, we work well together, we're brothers after all." Rudra spoke with pride. "One question, are we allowed to talk?" And I asked, "Of course, why would I stop you two from talking?" Issei asked, confused. "Well, your grandfather didn't want us to talk, and maybe that was the reason he sold us off to that Enzo fella," Rudra answered. "I don't mind it, I have a dragon inside me that talks to me a lot, so you two are fine, just don't speak whenever I'm with normal people or when I'm in class." "Understood," and I and Rudra answered in unison as Issei transformed them back to their ring forms. "Wow, quite the performance back their eyes," Rias complimented the boy. "Thanks, these two are no joke," Issei remarked. "That makes 2 of out 5 of the devil arms you're trying to find, if I'm not mistaken," Rias remembered. "Yeah, I originally intended for King Cerberus to be next, but Anya and Rudra here were the easier ones to get. Credit to Tiamat, of course, for knowing where Enzo was." Issei looked towards his rook. What are devil arms? A confused Sauna asked. They're weapons that were once devils. They were found by my grandfather during his time as an active devil hunter, fought them all, and after every fight, they would manifest themselves as weapons for him to use, and I and Rudra are the exceptions since they're living weapons. I'm sure some are like them, but I'll have to get the rest to find out, Issei explained. I see, judging from their auras alone, theirs don't clash. It flows as if they know what the other will do. Sauna remarked, enough about Issei-kun's weapons, but you two having sex with him is no fair. Akino pouted. We want him, so we made some moves on him. Ria smirked. I agree with Gremory's Queen Issei. When is it my turn? Tiamat crossed her arms. Mine too, Tsubaki chimed in. So how was he? Akino asked. Tiamat and Tsubaki nodded in agreement. It was amazing, especially when his draconic side takes over. Rias hugged herself. Sauna nodded in agreement. How big is he? Akino licked her 2 fingers. 11 inches of pure man meat. Rias seductively spoke. Akino forgot about everything and started to fantasize about Issei and her having intercourse in the most bizarre ways possible. Demn. Issei suddenly spoke, visibly red from everything he heard. Anyway, I'll be going home now. I need to prepare for tonight's operation. I'll report what we find in Kaneko-chan. Meet us at the abandoned church once you're ready. Issei prepared to leave. Good luck out there, Ice. Rias waved as Issei teleported out. Sauna, is it true that you along with Rias had intercourse with Hyoudou-kun? Tsubaki asked. Yes, we did. It was in the heat of the moment. I had no idea that I could do those things myself. Sauna answered in a frustrated tone. Do you regret it? Rias asked. No, not in the slightest. I admit that I have feelings for him. After all, Rias, you are my rival. Shouldn't we be rivals in the chase for Issei Sparta Hyoudou too? Sauna fixed her glasses. Can't say no to that, and I could say the same about having feelings for him. You know, after you passed out, while we were going at it, I directly confessed to him. I don't know whether it was an in-the-moment thing or did I truly mean it, but we did seal the deal last night. Rias pondered. I can't wait to have my turn with him. Akino spoke with excitement. I can tell that you two have genuine feelings for Issei. I know that we dragons attract a lot of things, and that includes mates. Some do it for the chance of getting a powerful offspring, while others do it out of pure and genuine love, and you two are the doing it for actual love. For your 2 queens, I can't say much. I haven't seen them act around Issei or be with Issei. Tiamat spoke. What do you mean? Akino asked. Early, I know that you're part fallen, and I know that you have a disdain for them. You have problems that you keep to yourself, fully knowing that you need help. Whatever it is you fantasize about is born from lust. You're lost in your own world, and what you need to do is to accept and embrace what you are. You have so much potential to be more than what you restrain yourself to be, and if you need someone who understands what you're going through, talk to Issei. He's in the exact same circle you're in. The same goes for you, catgirl. Tiamat spoke to both Kaneko and Akino. I see. Thank you, Tiamat. Akino sincerely spoke, completely accepting that Tiamat's advice was on point. And you, Citri's queen, you're confused. You tend to go and ride the bandwagon without really thinking much of what's going to happen next. If you claim that you hold feelings for him, I suggest that you interact with him at least. Tiamat advised while teleporting out. Wow, she just gave us a life lesson. Rias spoke in amazement. You tell me, everything she said was exactly what we needed, Sauna answered. Perks of living for 1,000 of years, Rias remarked. That's it, guys. Thanks for listening to my video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment below your favorite part. Sayonara, see you in the next video.